The sky was painted in a dull gray as Sophia and Anna walked through the narrow streets of their neighborhood. The cracked sidewalks and peeling paint on the buildings were a familiar backdrop to their routine. Sophia, with her worn-out backpack and her messy ponytail, held her mother's hand while chatting away about the drawings she had made in class. "Mom, did you know you can make flowers just by using circles? My teacher taught me." Anna smiled, though her face showed signs of exhaustion. She worked long hours as a bakery clerk, but she never failed to listen attentively to her daughter. As they turned a corner, something made Sophia stop. On the sidewalk, a man was sitting, hunched over as if carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. His beard was thick and unkempt, his clothes covered in dirt, and a piece of cardboard rested in his trembling hands. The scribbled letters in English were almost indecipherable, but seemed to plead for help. He stared at the ground, as if he were invisible. "Mommy, look," Sophia whispered, tugging on Anna's sleeve. "Sophia, don't stare for too long," Anna said, trying to hurry her along. "It's sad, but we can't help everyone." But Sophia hesitated. She reached into her backpack and pulled out a sandwich wrapped in plastic, the one she had saved from her school lunch. Without a second thought, she approached the man. Anna tried to stop her, but it was too late. "Hi, sir," Sophia said, extending the sandwich. The man slowly raised his head, revealing deep, tired blue eyes. There was something in his gaze that didn't match his appearance. It wasn't just sadness, but a hint of something else, a mix of surprise and shame. "Thank you. You're very kind," he murmured with an accent Sophia didn't recognize. His voice was hoarse, but there was a gentleness to it. He took the sandwich with trembling hands, as if it were something precious. Before Sophia could reply, whispers echoed around them. A woman stopped with her shopping bags and whispered to the man beside her, "She's helping that bums?" Another passerby mocked aloud, "I bet he doesn't even understand what she's saying. Just another useless man." Anna gently grabbed Sophia by the arm and pulled her away. "Let's go, Sophia. We've done what we could." But Sophia looked back as they walked away, noticing how the man held the sandwich as if it were the first piece of food he'd seen in days. Still, the whispers lingered, echoing like invisible judgments. "Why do they talk like that, Mom?" Sophia asked as they walked. "Some people forget what it's like to have empathy, my love." Anna squeezed her daughter's hand, trying to hide the discomfort she felt. "But you did a good deed today. That's what matters." Yet Sophia couldn't forget the man's eyes. Something inside her told her there was more to his story than anyone could see. The next morning, as the timid sunlight brightened the windows of their small apartment, Sophia ate her breakfast in silence, lost in thought. Anna, noticing her daughter's unusual quietness, asked, "Are you okay, my loves?" "I keep thinking about the man from yesterday, Mom. He seemed so sad." "I don't think anyone talks to him," Sophia replied, her big eyes fixed on her bowl of cereal. Anna sighed. "Life isn't always fair, Sophia, but some things are out of our control." Still, Sophia didn't seem convinced. Later, when they walked back to school, she pulled Anna by the hand, as if wanting to hurry. And as she had hoped, the man was there, sitting in the same corner, his back hunched, his gaze distant. This time, he held a small, worn-out notebook, but his pen was broken. He shook it, frustrated, trying to make it work. Sophia looked at Anna, who hesitated before nodding. It was hard to say no to her daughter. Sophia ran over to the man. "Hi again," she said in her sweet voice. "Are you writing something?" The man lifted his gaze, and for a moment, he seemed surprised that someone was noticing him again. "I try to write, but the pen..." He gestured to the useless object in his hands with a slight shrug. Sophia opened her backpack and pulled out her favorite pen, bright blue ink decorated with little star stickers. It was special to her, but at that moment, she didn't hesitate. "Here, you can have mine. It works really well." The man took the pen carefully, as if it were made of glass. You're giving me this?" "Thank you," he said, his voice again tinged with that heavy accent and a hint of emotion. He tried to smile, but his face seemed unaccustomed to the expression. While Sophia crouched next to him, a woman passing by raised her eyebrows in disapproval. "What is that girl doing? Someone should watch her," she murmured to another person. More people began to whisper, shaking their heads as if Sophia had committed some kind of crime. Anna, observing from a distance, felt the weight of those stares and decided to step in. She approached and said firmly, "Sophia, I think it's time for us to go." Before leaving, Sophia gave the man one last smile. "I hope the pen helps. See you later." The man waved, still looking a bit astonished. On the way home, Anna finally asked, "Sophia, why do you help this man? We don't know anything about him. He could be dangerous." Sophia shrugged and answered simply, "He seems lonely, Mom. And everyone needs a friend sometimes." Anna remained silent for a moment, torn between the pride she felt for her daughter's kindness and the fear that the unjust world planted in her heart. Meanwhile, back on the street corner, the man held the pen and watched the small figure walking away, something resembling hope slowly appearing in his eyes. Yet, the murmurs of disapproval still echoed around him, like a persistent trail of indifference that Sophia and Anna had to face. The afternoon was stifling, and the neighborhood streets seemed busier than usual. Sophia left school with Anna, the heat making their steps slower. Despite her exhaustion, Sophia's thoughts were still caught up with the man she had met. She looked toward a spot where he usually sat, feeling something pulling her in that direction. And there he was, sitting in the same corner, his beard unkempt, but his eyes a little more alert. He seemed to be waiting for something or someone. But when he spotted Sophia, his expression changed. It wasn't exactly a smile, but there was something in his gaze that looked like silent gratitude. Sophia ran up to him before Anna could stop her. "Hi, mister. Did you manage to use the pen?" she asked, tilting her head as if examining a mystery. The man held up the small, worn notebook and nodded. "Yes. Thank you so much. But now..." He paused, hesitating, as if gathering the courage to continue. After a long sigh, he finally spoke. "Could you help me one more time?" "Of course," Sophia replied without hesitation. He glanced at Anna, who stood a few steps behind, her arms crossed, visibly wary. Then, he turned back to Sophia. "I need a piece of paper. Something clean. Something where I can write something important." Sophia's eyes widened. "Just that. I can get it for you. Wait here." Before she could run off, Anna grabbed her by the arm. "Sophia, no. This is too much. He might be planning something dangerous." "Mom, he just wants papers," Sophia retorted, frustrated. "Didn't you hear him? It's important." Anna lowered her voice, but her expression was serious. "And how do you know it's not a trap? You're just a child, Sophia. You don't understand how the world works." Sophia took a deep breath. "Maybe I don't understand, but I know no one else is helping him, Mom. And he didn't ask for anything bad. Just a piece of paper." Anna was silent, her eyes blinking rapidly, as if searching for the right words. Finally, she sighed, defeated. "Fine, but I'll be watching." Sophia ran to her backpack and pulled out a blank sheet of paper she often used for drawing. She returned to the man and handed it to him carefully. "Here, I hope it helps." The man took the paper with unexpected delicacy. For a moment, he seemed lost for words. Finally, he murmured, "Thank you. You don't know how much this means to me." He leaned forward, balancing the notebook on his knee, and began writing quickly. The letters flowed fast but firm. Sophia tried to peek, but he pulled the paper closer to him, almost protectively. "Is it a secret?" Sophia asked, curious. He stopped writing and looked at her with a subtle smile, as if the girl's innocence were a refreshing breeze in his difficult life. "It's something very important, but don't worry. One day you'll understand." Meanwhile, the people around began to notice the interaction. Whispered comments started to rise again, filled with disdain. "Look at that. Giving attention to this bum," said an older woman as she passed by. "These vagrants are hopeless. She should send him back to whatever hole he came from," added a middle-aged man with a voice dripping with contempt. Sophia turned red, but not from embarrassment. She was angry. "Why do they talk like that?" she murmured to Anna, who was still standing at a distance observing. "Because people judge what they don't understand, Sophia," Anna replied softly, her expression a mix of pride and concern. The man, however, seemed deaf to the insults. He finished writing and carefully folded the paper, slipping it into the inner pocket of his tattered jacket. Then he looked at Sophia, his eyes gleaming with an emotion she couldn't quite identify. "You are very special. Thank you." Once again, before Sophia could respond, a young man walking by shouted, laughing, "Go ahead, write all you want, bum. Like that's going to change anything." Those words were the breaking point. Sophia watched as the man lowered his head slowly, his shoulders slumping even further. When he raised his face, there were tears in his eyes, but he quickly wiped them away as if not wanting anyone to see. Sophia stepped closer and held his hand for a brief moment. "Don't listen to them," she said softly. "You have the paper now. That's what matters, right?" The man looked at her, trying to smile, but the weight of the moment was evident. Finally, he murmured, "Yes, that's what matters. Thank you, Sophia." Anna called out to her daughter, and Sophia quickly said goodbye. But as they walked away, she looked back. There was something about the man that seemed different now, something she didn't understand, but felt was important. Days passed, but Sophia couldn't get the man on the sidewalk out of her mind. There was something about him that fascinated her, something that seemed deeper than his sad eyes and ragged clothes. It was as if he were hiding a secret, buried under layers of misery and silence. That afternoon, on their way back from school, Sophia tugged on Anna's arm as soon as she spotted the corner where he usually sat. But this time, the scene was different. The man was sitting there as usual, but something had changed. He was barefoot, his clothes even dirtier and more worn than before. The notebook he always carried was nowhere in sight, and his expression was one of complete despair, as if whatever little strength he had left had finally vanished. "Mom, he looks worse," Sophia said, the concern evident in her voice. "Sophia, we've done what we could," Anna replied, trying to convince her to keep walking. "We can't solve all the problems in the world, but he looks so alone," Sophia insisted, pulling her mother's arm. Against Anna's better judgment, Sophia ran up to him. "Hi, mister," she said softly, but he didn't respond. He just lifted his eyes slowly, as if every movement were a tremendous effort. "Are you okay? What happened to your shoes?" Sophia asked, noticing the man's dirty, bruised feet. He shrugged, muttering, "It doesn't matter. None of it matters." His voice, though hoarse, carried a deep pain. As Sophia tried to talk, a group of teenagers passed by, laughing loudly. When they noticed the man, they began to mock him. "Look who it is, the philosopher of the gutter," one of them shouted, drawing laughter from the others. Another added, "What do you think he's writing now? The manual on how to be a loser." Sophia, indignant, shouted back, "Stop it. You don't have the right to talk to him like that." The teenagers laughed even louder, but eventually walked away, leaving the man in awkward silence. Sophia crouched down beside him again. "Don't listen to them. They don't know anything." The man took a deep breath, as if he wanted to say something, but hesitated. Finally, he murmured, "They're right. I'm a failure. I'm no one now." "That's not true," Sophia replied immediately. He shook his head, a bitter smile on his lips. "No, you don't understand, little one. I used to be someone important." Sophia frowned. "What do you mean? What are you trying to say?" The man sighed and looked at his hands, scarred and dirty. "I once had everything, and I lost it all. People admired me, followed me, but now no one even remembers who I am." Sophia's eyes widened. "You were famous." He hesitated, but before he could answer, another harsh comment came from a group passing by. "Careful, girl. He's probably just trying to trick you with those stories. Bet he doesn't even know who he really is," an elderly woman shouted, shaking her head in disdain. Anna, who had been watching from a distance, rushed over, pulling Sophia away. "I told you not to get close to him." "Mom, he was saying something important." Sophia protested, but Anna didn't listen. The man tried to stand up, as if wanting to explain, but his legs trembled, and he fell back down defeated. As he tried to collect himself, a piece of paper slipped from his pocket and fluttered to Sophia's feet. "Sophia, leave that there," Anna commanded, but curiosity had already won. Sophia picked up the paper before the wind could carry it away. It was a sheet filled with calculations, sketches, and notes that Sophia couldn't understand. Lines drawn with precision, small technical diagrams, and words written in English were scattered across the page. One word, written in capital letters at the top, caught her attention. Prototype. Sophia looked up, incredulous. "What is this? Did you make this?" The man didn't answer. He only extended a trembling hand, trying to retrieve the paper, but Anna quickly pulled Sophia away. "That's enough. This man is playing games with your head, Sophia. We're going home." As Anna dragged her away, Sophia looked back, seeing the man sitting there, even more dejected, his eyes lost in her direction. Something inside her told her he was telling the truth, and the paper in her hand seemed to hold more questions than answers. The wind that evening felt colder than usual, cutting through the small neighborhood with a force that rattled windows and sent papers flying down the streets. Inside the cramped apartment, Sophia sat on her bed, staring at the paper filled with calculations and diagrams. Despite Anna's insistence that she go to sleep, Sophia's mind buzzed with questions. Who was that man? How could someone who seemed so lost have created something so intricate? The next day, Sophia decided to return to the spot where she always found the man. But as soon as she arrived, she sensed something was wrong. A small crowd of neighbors had gathered around the place where he usually sat. Voices rose in the air, filled with indignation and anger. "This is ridiculous. Letting someone like that stay here is dangerous," an older woman shouted, crossing her arms tightly. "He's a foreigner. Who knows what he's up to?" added an older man, shaking his head in disapproval. Sophia ran toward the center of the commotion and found him. The man was there, crouched against a wall, trying to shrink as if he could disappear. His tattered jacket seemed far too thin for the cold, and his usually distant gaze was now filled with panic. "Mom," Sophia called out as she saw Anna at a distance, trying to calm her. "Sophia, get out of there," Anna yelled, rushing toward her daughter. But Sophia couldn't leave. She watched as the man tried to speak, his voice timid. "I don't want trouble. I just need a place to think." But the crowd's voices drowned him out. "Think. Looks more like he's plotting something," a young man in the group shouted. "Yeah, why is he always writing? Who writes that much without a reason? Probably involved in something illegal. Who knows where he's from?" Sophia felt a knot tighten in her throat. She couldn't take it anymore. "Stop it," she yelled, her words surprising even Anna, who was trying to approach. "You don't even know who he is, or what he's doing." The crowd's attention turned to her, but Sophia didn't back down. "He hasn't hurt anyone. He's just here alone, and all you do is judge him. And you, little girl, don't you see he could be dangerous? And what about your mother?" a woman in the group retorted, pointing at Anna. "How does she let you get close to someone like that?" Anna stepped forward, positioning herself between Sophia and the crowd. "She's just trying to help. And what are you doing besides yelling?" The man, hunched over, looked as though he might cry. He finally spoke, his voice breaking. "I'm not who you think I am. I'm not a danger. I'm just trying to fix things. You don't understand." But before he could finish, he stopped. A visible exhaustion overtook him, and he simply stood up, ready to leave. As he took his first step, the piece of paper Sophia had given him days before fell to the ground, sliding to her feet. Sophia picked it up before anyone could step on it. It was a detailed sketch of something she didn't understand, but one word written at the center caught her attention. "Energy." "Mister, what is this?" Sophia asked, ignoring the murmurs around her. He looked at her for a long moment, then at the paper. Sighing heavily, he replied, "It's the only thing I have left. My work, my idea, something that could help." Before Sophia could ask more, the crowd started advancing again, surrounding him with their accusations. He raised his hands, as though surrendering. "I'll leave. Don't worry." "That's right, go. This place is for decent people," someone shouted. But as he began to walk away, Sophia ran after him and shouted, "Wait, you said you used to be someone important. What did you mean by that? Who are you really?" The man stopped, turned to face Sophia, and looked into her eyes. The crowd fell silent for a moment, waiting for his answer. He took a deep breath and murmured, "You'll know soon." Then he disappeared around the corner, leaving behind the crowd the confusion, and a Sophia more determined than ever to discover who he was, and why no one seemed to understand his true story. The days that followed were strange for Sophia. The mysterious man seemed to have vanished, as if the earth had swallowed him whole. His absence, however, didn't bring relief to the community. On the contrary, the murmurs persisted, now mixed with increasingly absurd rumors. "I heard he was a spy," one neighbor said. "I'm sure he was planning something dangerous," another claimed. Sophia, meanwhile, couldn't forget the piece of paper she had found. The technical sketch, carefully folded, remained in her school backpack, tucked between her notebooks. She looked at it every day, trying to decipher its meaning, but the words and numbers were like an impossible puzzle. "Are you still thinking about that man?" Anna asked one evening while washing the dishes. "He said I'd find out who he was," Sophia replied, resting her chin on the table. "Why did he leave, Mom? Why didn't anyone want to hear what he had to say?" Anna sighed, drying her hands on her apron. "Because people are afraid of what they don't understand, Sophia. But that doesn't mean you should carry this burden. Sometimes, it's better to leave people's pasts behind." But Sophia couldn't. She felt, with every fiber of her being, that the man still had something important to say, something the world needed to hear. Then one day, something completely unexpected happened. It was a typical morning at Sophia's school, filled with laughter and children running in the yard. She was in the middle of a game of hopscotch when a sleek, black car stopped in front of the school gate. The vehicle seemed out of place in the humble neighborhood, gleaming like a piece of another world. All eyes turned to it, and whispers began immediately. "Who do you think it is?" one girl asked. "It must be someone important," another replied. Sophia watched, curious, as the school principal appeared, adjusting his tie hastily. He approached the car, opened the door with reverence, and extended his hand to assist whoever was inside. The man who stepped out was tall and elegant, dressed in a flawless suit. His shoes shone as brightly as the car. He looked around as if searching for something or someone. When his eyes landed on Sophia, he smiled. "It's her," he said aloud, pointing directly at her. "Me," Sophia murmured, perplexed. The principal walked over to her, trying to hide his own confusion, but visibly excited. "Sophia, this gentleman has come to speak with you. He has a very special message." The elegant man approached, crouching slightly to meet Sophia's height. His eyes held a warm glow that contrasted with his stiff posture. "You're Sophia, right?" "Yes," Sophia replied, a mix of curiosity and apprehension in her voice. He extended a golden envelope to her. "My name is Jacob. I work for someone who would like to thank you personally for something very important you've done." Sophia took the envelope carefully. Inside was an invitation printed on high-quality paper, with golden letters that shimmered under the light. "We cordially invite Sophia and her family to a special ceremony honoring those who inspire change. Location: Municipal Auditorium. Date: Saturday, 7 p.m. Sophia looked at Jacob, confused. "But I didn't do anything special." "Oh, Sophia, you've done much more than you realize," he said with an enigmatic smile. "And on Saturday, you'll understand exactly what I mean." The car drove off as quickly as it had arrived, leaving Sophia with the invitation in her hands and a million questions swirling in her head. That night, at home, Anna read the invitation several times, her brow furrowed. "I'm not sure we should go, Sophia. This seems strange." "Please, Mom," they said. "I helped. What if it's something important?" Anna hesitated. There was something in the sparkle of Sophia's eyes that made her sigh and finally agree. "All right, We'll go. But if I feel like something is off, we'll leave right away. Deal. Sophia nodded, trying to hide her excitement. Saturday arrived, and the municipal auditorium looked like a different world. Bright lights, a crowd of elegantly dressed people, and an air of anticipation filled the space. Sophia and Anna, humbly dressed, entered hesitantly, feeling out of place. Suddenly, the master of ceremonies stepped onto the stage, adjusting the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here tonight to honor someone very special. But before that, I'd like to introduce a person who has been deeply touched by the kindness of this young girl. The stage lights moved, and a figure began to walk toward the microphone. As he approached, the silence in the auditorium became absolute. When the man finally came into view, the surprise was overwhelming. It was the man from the sidewalk, but he was no longer the same. Dressed in an impeccable suit and with his beard neatly trimmed, he seemed like a completely different person. His posture was firm, and his eyes shone with determination. Sophia looked at him, incredulous. "It's him, Mom." Anna covered her mouth with her hand, stunned. The man took the microphone and, with a clear voice, began, "Good evening. Many of you recognize me from the worst moments of my life. But today, I want to tell you who I really am." The auditorium was gripped by a silence of expectation. The man, once seen as an insignificant vagrant, now stood there, illuminated by the bright stage lights. His suit contrasted sharply with the image most people had of him, and his presence carried an unexpected authority. Whispers started to spread among the audience, but ceased as soon as he adjusted the microphone. "Good evening," he began, his voice clear and steady, but filled with emotion that resonated throughout the hall. "My name is Elon Musk Lennox. Many of you knew me under less favorable circumstances." The name echoed through the room, eliciting reactions of astonishment. Some people murmured, "Lennox? Did he say Lennox?" Others simply stared, speechless.
"Perhaps the name means nothing to some of you," Elon Musk continued, "but for others, it might serve as a disconcerting reminder." He paused, his gaze sweeping across the audience, landing on a few faces now visibly uneasy. "Before I became the man you despised on the sidewalks of this neighborhood, I was an inventor, an entrepreneur, and the founder of one of the largest sustainable technology companies in the country." A wave of shock rippled through the audience. Elon Musk paused for a long moment, allowing his words to sink in. "For years, I worked to create solutions to help the world. I traveled, gave lectures, and received awards, but as many of you know, success is a double-edged sword. Personal circumstances and poor decisions led me to lose everything. And when that happened, the world didn't hesitate to turn its back on me." His eyes scanned the room, now filled with ashamed faces. "I came to this neighborhood because I needed a place to think, a place to reevaluate my life. But all I found were closed doors, scornful looks, and cruel words." At that moment, Elon Musk paused, his gaze falling on a group of neighbors seated toward the back, trying to hide. "You know who you are," he said, his voice lower but as sharp as a blade. "You insulted me, you mocked me, you treated me as less than human. And for that, I'll be direct. I haven't forgotten." A murmur of embarrassment spread among the neighbors. Some attempted to leave their seats, but black-suited guards were already stationed near the exits. "But," Elon Musk continued, his voice growing firmer, "amid all that contempt, there was an exception. A single kind soul who, even as a child, showed more humanity than all of you combined. That person is Sophia." The stage lights shifted to focus on little Sophia, seated with Anna in the middle of the crowd. She looked startled, but Elon Musk gave her a sincere smile. "Sophia didn't judge me for my appearance. She didn't treat me like trash. On the contrary, she helped me when no one else would. And without knowing it, her kindness sparked the motivation I needed to keep going." Elon Musk raised the piece of paper Sophia had given him, the one filled with his calculations and ideas. "This paper, which she handed me without hesitation, became the beginning of something revolutionary. Thanks to her, I created a prototype that could change how we produce energy worldwide. And today, I'm here to thank her and to do something more." He pointed to the neighbors at the back, who were now visibly distressed. "As for those who rejected me, you are not welcome at this event. And starting today, you are not welcome at the community center I will build in this neighborhood. This will be a place for those with empathy, not for those who thrive on prejudice." 2 security guards began escorting the group out. Some tried to protest, but their voices were drowned out by the murmurs of approval from the audience. Once the commotion subsided, Elon Musk turned back to Sophia. "Now, let's talk about good things," he said, smiling. "Sophia, for your kindness, I want to offer you something no one can ever take away: education." The audience held its breath as Elon Musk continued. "You will receive a full scholarship to any university you choose in the future. And, on top of that, I am making $1 million donation to transform this neighborhood into a place worthy of its residents. All in your name." Sophia blinked, incredulous, as the audience erupted into applause. Anna, beside her, wiped away tears of joy. Elon Musk concluded, "I may have lost everything, but thanks to you, Sophia, I found something even more valuable: faith in humanity." The audience, who had once rejected him, now stood in applause, but Elon Musk knew the true recognition belonged to the little girl who believed in him when no one else did. The sound of applause still echoed through the auditorium as Elon Musk took a deep breath, preparing for the most important moment of the night. He looked out at the crowd, then back at Sophia, whose expression alternated between surprise and curiosity. "Now," he began, his voice softer but heavy with emotion, "let me explain why this girl changed my life, so you can truly understand the significance of a simple act of kindness." The auditorium fell into absolute silence. Not even a whisper dared interrupt the tension in the air. Elon Musk held up the piece of paper Sophia had given him weeks earlier. "When I came to this neighborhood, I was shattered. I had lost my family, my company, and, honestly, my will to keep going. All I wanted was to disappear." He paused, taking a deep breath as though the words weighed heavily. "But I couldn't stop thinking. My mind was full of ideas that wouldn't leave me. Even without resources, without anything but an old notebook and a broken pen, I kept trying to write. Why? Because deep down, I still believed my ideas could change something. But the truth is, I no longer believed in myself." He turned to Sophia, smiling. "And then you appeared. A little girl with no reason to notice me, but who, even so, paid attention. You gave me a pen when mine was broken. And more importantly, you gave me something I had completely lost: dignity." Sophia's eyes glistened with tears. She murmured softly, "I just wanted to help." Elon Musk nodded as if he had heard her. "You did more than help, Sophia. You gave me the first step to becoming myself again. With the pen and paper you gave me, I started working again. And on that piece of paper, I sketched the first version of the prototype now being developed in partnership with one of the world's largest technology companies." He held the paper aloft, showing it to the audience like a trophy. "What's on this page could revolutionize the way we use energy. It's a system that generates electricity from renewable resources, more efficiently and affordably than anything created before." The audience murmured in astonishment. Many of them had ignored or mocked the man, and now they realized what they had overlooked. Elon Musk lowered the paper and looked back at Sophia. "I couldn't have done it without you. When no one else believed in me, you did. And that's why, today, Sophia, you're not just my inspiration. You're proof that kindness can still save the world." The auditorium erupted into applause again, but Elon Musk raised his hand, signaling for silence. He looked toward the far corners of the room, where some of the people who had insulted him in the streets still Saturday, and to those who judged me, who humiliated me, I hope tonight serves as a reminder that no one is defined solely by a moment of weakness. Everyone has stories you don't know. He took a deep breath, his tone firm. Change begins when we decide to look beyond what's on the surface. Sophia taught me that. And now, it's up to you to learn from her as well. Elon Musk's words reverberated through the auditorium. While most applauded again, some sat still, their faces flushed with shame. Anna embraced Sophia, tears streaming silently down her face. "You're amazing, my daughter," she murmured. As the event continued, the impact of Elon Musk's words was undeniable. The community began reflecting on their own prejudices and attitudes. Sophia, a 9-year-old girl, had done what powerful and influential adults had failed to do: see the humanity in someone who seemed invisible. Months later, the community center was inaugurated in a grand ceremony attended by hundreds, including politicians, journalists, and celebrities. But for Sophia, the greatest joy was standing beside Elon Musk, who smiled as someone who had found peace again. At the event, Sophia was invited to give a short speech. She stepped onto the stage, shy but determined, with Anna and Elon Musk watching her with pride. She gripped the microphone with both hands, looking out at the crowd. "I'm not very good at speeches," she began, drawing laughter. "But I want to say something my mom always taught me. People aren't always what they seem. Everyone deserves a chance." She paused, taking a deep breath. "When I first saw Elon Musk, he looked sad and lonely. I didn't know who he was, but that didn't matter. He was just someone who needed help."
The applause came, but Sophia raised her hand, mimicking the gesture she had learned from Elon Musk. What I want to say is that being kind costs nothing, and sometimes a small act can change someone's life. So, don't judge, just help. The crowd rose to their feet, clapping. Anna openly wept, and Elon Musk smiled as if her words had closed a circle. Sophia's lesson spread through the community, igniting a flame that lit even the hardest hearts. Elon Musk returned to being who he once was, but now with a humility that would never leave him. Sophia, in turn, grew into an inspiring young woman, always carrying with her the same kindness that had changed one man's life and an entire community. And so, a simple 9-year-old girl proved that with courage and compassion, even the smallest gestures can leave eternal marks on the world.